Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. And today we're not here today to talk about the disappointing trailer that we got for the DLC because it did not hype me up for anything. So I'm not going to give that to you guys here. But what we are going to talk about is something I saw yesterday while watching the tournament, the grand, what do you call that thing again? The grand destruction? No, the destructive finish finals thingy. And what I'm going to talk about today is why did we see this specific character so frequently? I saw so many people having Recoome as their backup character or their second for the two-person team, and I'm like, why? And I noticed some things while playing with him, but instead of just noticing them on there, I wanted to play as Recoome today for myself to try to see what's the appeal, what's the stratagem, what is it exactly that you get when using Recoome. And right off the bat, something that actually did surprise me was to find out that Recoome was what is it? How many bars is it? 4.5 bars. He's got, or 3.5 bars. He goes into the 4 bar, and I don't mean like 4, like whatever number of lights you see up in that top left corner really just means how many you have before you hit your last bar. So, we have 2 right now, which means that we have 2 including our last bar, so really 3. So Recoome kind of dips into the, into the 4th one. So, and like, okay, so he is really just like a tank. He's really a big tank in this game. And he is not the slowest tank. Like, he definitely is slow. Like, he's definitely got tank energy when it comes to how he moves. And his attacks are pretty heavy as well. But they've got some flair to them. Like, you guys know how I feel about combo rhythms and flair and the choreography. Recoome's is pretty nice. Even when it comes to sending, like, the ballerina stuff is hilarious to me. Like, imagine that you're just getting sent flying across the map because Recoome feels like dancing on you like a ballerina. Like, where else could you get that? Now, one thing I do miss that he had from in the Tenkaichi games was him being like, full power. Like, the charging animation is fantastic. I absolutely love it. But I miss his full power. That was one of my favorite aspects of Recoome back then. And another is the fact that, if you get enough damage, like if somebody battle damages you enough, you look like how he did after fighting with Vegeta and Krillin and Gohan and all of them. So, but I don't think I got damaged enough to really show that off here. And then his poses are hilarious. And the windscreen is hilarious. I'm actually gonna start doing that IRL. And yes, I'm not kidding. So fact check me. But anyway, back to his utility. You get those bars of health, so he's very tanky, very good tank, especially for the DP cost. I think he's only like 3 DP or 4 DP. I might be completely wrong, but he does not cost a lot. I know that much for sure. I think you should be able to get every Ginyu Force member on the same team. I think on a team of 5, you should be able to get them all on there, which means they don't cost that much to begin with. But for the DP costs that Recoome provides you, you get a lot for that package. You get a key spam, and you also get a key blast, which, is his eraser gun. I like eraser gun as an attack. I think any mouth beam in the game is, fun to watch. Like, imagine you're just like, yeah, I feel like shooting a key blast out of my mouth. So that's what I'm gonna do. Eraser gun, ah! Sorry, I'm I'm very interested in. And then his ultimate is not unblockable, but it is an explosive wave. And what that means when you have an explosive wave as your ultimate, that means you do not step back when you're about to use it. So you could literally just fly up on someone, just pull up on them and say, hey, I've got an explosive wave for you. And you just use it. And if they're tripping, if they're stunned, if they're on the ground, they're going to take the full force of it. And there's nothing they can do. So, very strategic thing to have there. Kind of like a Hail Mary, which I've seen people doing yesterday, especially in some like last resort kind of attacks there. So good thing to have there. Now, one thing Recoome has also, as you guys can see right there, an unblockable grab. He's got an unblockable grab, which if you catch people with it is fantastic. And then that's going to take me straight into the next thing that he's got. Recoome Step In, Rolling Hammer. He's got a rolling hammer which turns your opponent around so that you can get free back shots. It's crazy. I'm just like, how much utilities does he have? So as far as what his actual rush chains are, he's got, and I think I'm going to try to say this in the right order. He's got Key Cannon, which he kind of does like as a like he's ramming himself against the other person. He's got the Key Cannon. He's got the Gut Check for the second one. He's got the Rolling Hammer for the third one, and then the fourth one is another Gut Check. So you have 2 ways to gut check somebody and 2 times where you could turn somebody around. So a lot of utility there, especially if you really want to either stun people or, you know, use back shots on somebody. You have a lot of opportunities to make comboing somebody very easy for yourself while using Recoome. And like I said, I realized that while, oh yeah, we did get damaged enough. Okay. That's who did it. So yeah, there's that look. Very funny look too. Even more threatening than his normal look, honestly. But even outside of that, the rush chains are fantastic. And like I said, as you guys can see with the ult, if you just charge in at someone and you do a decent amount of damage to really just take somebody out if you hit it too. I don't know why he was dancing at me. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. Like, I don't know if he was trying to say, hey, can we charge first? But I don't know. You're using Beerus. We do have the same amount of health, and that's crazy. We have the same amount of health as a god of destruction in this game. We start off with the same amount of health. So that should tell you what you need to know. Like, look at that. Now, has he done that much damage to us yet? No. But, I mean, Beerus hits very hard, so we have to be very, very careful there. But outside of that, yeah, his rush chains are pretty solid. Very solid rush chains and very solid combat overall. Nice combo rhythm. His combo rhythm, matter of fact, any character whose combo rhythm is not that quick is not that easy to super counter, because you have fewer chances and you have fewer error. You have little room to make a mistake. Not even make a mistake, but just to hit the input at the wrong time, because the attacks are farther and few in between, so there's less chances for you to take there. Now, Ki Blasts, nothing itself is really all that special. You just have your standard you have your standard just throwing little Ki Blast and then your charged Ki Blast attack, which we don't need anything special there. I don't need the slow moving ones or anything like that, and I don't need the ones that stun. We don't need anything outside of just the norm, especially when it comes to trying to stop somebody from going into sparking when we need to. It's great. I can't complain about it. Now what else do we have here? I don't really know what else I could say. I mean, he's all around a very well-rounded character. You get 2 Dragon Dashes or 2 Vanishes, or a mix of the 2, but you only get 2. When it comes to chasing your opponent down, I don't know why we're lagging right there. You get those for chasing them down, and it's pretty useful. I think it doubles when you go into your sparking mode. And as you guys can also see, I'm trying to use revenge counters more frequently. I'm trying to make those a part of the arsenal, because just as much of an issue as they are for me, they probably could be for the people that I face. So I'm going to start using them. I'm going to become what I don't like, but I'm also going to counter it too. See, knowing that and being able to read somebody else's revenge counters means you can counter the counter. So I don't think I should be complaining too much. If I just counter it when I need to counter it, then we won't have anything to worry about. It costs 2 skill points. And like I said before too, with characters that aren't burdened with having to transform, you don't have to worry about not having enough skill points. Now, unfortunately with Recoome, 4 skill points is the max that you do get, but you don't need a whole lot more other than that. I mean, you know, when you want to go into sparking mode, you use all 4 of them. And if you want to use, you know, false courage, you can use false courage too. I didn't find myself using it, or at least I don't remember using it at all throughout this whole like thing. Like, I don't need I mean, I could have probably benefited from it, but I didn't feel like I needed it during this playthrough. Now, when it comes to trying to understand why exactly it is that the pros prefer to use Recoome over some of the other characters that you do get, I feel that Recoome is just a very all-around solid pick for his DP cost. He does not cost a lot of DP, but he is a very strong tank of a character for what you get in Sparking Zero. And mainly that's just for the strategies and meta of the game right now. These things that we have right now work for the current meta of the game. So when you have something that works for the meta of the game, and you combine that with just, you know, overall utility, that's where Recoome gets you. And I'm actually surprised to have only mainly seen, now I'm not going to say like, you know, that the pros couldn't get rolled by some other people that, you know, I see play on YouTube or anything, because as far as you have seen, like, of course they know how to play the game, but what we see being done really to to really win, mainly what we saw there to be won was a lot of key blasts. We saw a lot of key blast spamming. Oh my god. Between UI Goku and Trunks, like we're facing right here, because I almost had PTSD. I wasn't even part of the tournament, and I almost had some PTSD when I saw this Trunks right here. I was like, oh, please don't be one of those, please, because this is what the tournament looked like, where you had Trunks using his charged key blast with the sword and just spamming it in between everything. And don't get me wrong, I even made a video talking about how broken that is too, because it's unblockable and you can just weave that in between some key blasts, especially when you go into sparking and you have, you know, you can throw as many key blasts as you can within a certain amount of time. It's very broken to have something like that you can just throw in between your attacks and just really kind of mess up somebody's rhythm and take them out of, like, they can't even block what comes after that. So it's almost free damage for whatever else you plan to do after. And then, you know, for the UI Goku, that was mainly like, you know, his charged key blast, to where it's like the shockwave, which, don't get me wrong, I love the shockwave. And I found myself like, I was like gasping. I was like, oh my god, look at all, I didn't even know he could fire off that many. So it's, you know, competitive play, it's really a completely different realm as far as how people actually play the game, and you want to really kind of, you know, kind of enjoy the game for what it is. It's completely different. But just because that's the case doesn't mean you can't learn a few things or two. Like, do not spam key blast. I'm not saying that. Please, let's leave this game as far away from that as we can. And I know every tournament brings up new, every tournament's going to bring up a new issue, sad to say, but, and it's not even really an issue, but it's an exploit, I should say. It's going to show us what it is that pros have found, or say we can exploit this and really profit off of it. And believe me, they did profit off of it. So outside of the things that we probably would call cheese in our world, what else can we learn? And one thing I'm learning is that Recoome is actually pretty good for what you get. Now, of course, as I say and will say in every video, it's not always the character, it's the person who's using the character. Because anybody can be using a character and make them look like they really aren't worth using. But it's hard to deny that in some cases, when you see people who are pretty high tier in the game, when they have other options out there, why choose this one? So there's got to be a reason, especially when multiple are using the same one. So it's not even just, you know, it's not even just like a minute thing either. Like, I seen somebody use Lord Slug also, and I think, you know, that was his second choice after using Recoome in one round. So I kind of feel like it was just a means to switch it up a little bit, but the first choice seemed to have been Recoome. And matter of fact, most of them really were looking for the tanky characters to be their backups, which fairly so. You know, if you're going to be a backup, be a good backup. In all honesty, give me a chance to take my character who I'm trying to recover some health for. Be a good sponge in more cases than not. And I don't want to refer to them as a sponge, no disrespect to, you know, the tanks that are out there in this game, but you know, like, everybody has their role to play and everybody plays it to the best of their ability. But I want to know what you guys think. Like, what are some of you guys' thoughts on the tournament? What's some of you guys' thoughts on the DLC? Do you guys, like, I'm pretty sure, and I've watched, you know, a couple of videos already about other people talking about the upcoming DLC. Like, I've watched every slow plays video about the DLC. If anybody else here watches slow plays, I've watched his, and I've seen him talk about, you know, he gave me a bit of hope with saying that, you know, it doesn't seem that the only couple things that they did show us in the DLC trailer are all that's coming out. So I'm like, okay, you know, that was my thinking too. I'm like, this can't possibly be all. This can't be it. And then, you know, we're not getting it until April. Like, April for real. You know, so we just have to be even more patient. And, you know, that, believe me, that content's going to cut. Like, even if it were just those couple characters we're making content, and we're going to stretch it. We are going to stretch it. But let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all feelings are. What are your feelings towards this game right now? And how do you feel about Recoome? But I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.